Hello and welcome to a new episode of VMTV Vaults with myself, Kyle Diamond, and my guest for this episode, who is Mr. Sam Urai Creasey. Sam has been fighting in Cage Warriors since 2016. In that time, he has challenged for the flyweight title on 2 occasions and come up short, but he's about to go into that situation for a third time when he will fight Luke Shanks for the vacant belt. That is coming off of a 3-fight win streak with a win over Aaron Aby over on the Trilogy, setting up this huge fight with Shanks, which should be an incredible fight because it's a brilliant matchup. Without further ado, Mr. Sam Creasey. I'll start this with telling the truth about something, because I want to know your opinion on it, because I wonder if you get it a lot. And that is that I'm just holding my hands up here. It took me way long to figure out why your nickname is Urai.
Yeah. To be honest, like some people get it straight away. Yeah. And then I've got people still now coming up to me and going, "What's an Urai?"
Yeah.
What it sounds like something out of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like, no, just put it together, bro.
Yeah, that's what I always thought as well. That's what my head always jumped to, was it sounds like a Lord of the Rings thing. It was I think it's only when you hear your name like announced, when I was watching some fights back before the Trilogy, that I was like, oh, I get it now. And it's one of those things as well, when you get it, you're like, how have I not worked that one out? Like,
mate, there's plenty of people who thought the same thing.
Okay, well, I'm glad I'm not the only one there. So talking about the Trilogy, obviously, congratulations on your win over Aaron Aby. How close do you think that is to your career best performance to date?
That's a difficult one. I think it was a decent performance. I think I got to show like a lot of my wrestling, which I haven't showed in some of my past fights and that. But I wouldn't put it down as like a career best performance particularly. There are a lot of things that I could have done better. I think I could have gone for the finish if I needed to, but I was in control of the rounds and that, and kind of just staying calm and picking my shots and that, and staying not within the comfort zone, but I felt very relaxed in those situations there, and I could have probably pulled it on a little bit more if I wanted to.
Yeah, you seemed completely in control. Like from just the very first round, it seemed like even when you were at striking range or when you were grappling, it didn't seem like there was anything really that he could throw at you that was going to phase you in there. You seemed just completely in control. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, probably. I probably spent the whole of the camp striking predominantly and working takedown defense and that really. Felt comfortable on the feet and that, but as soon as I gripped him up, I felt like, okay, this is where you got real dominance, because as soon as I gripped him up, I was like, I can do what I want in this position. The striking's always a toss up for me. I might have cleaner strikes than that, right up to the point where I get banged. And then, and then there's a change of game plan. But I felt very comfortable in there, in control the entire time, and it's just nice to be back in there again.
I think probably the biggest talking point of the fight was those slams. Like, tell me what was going through your head because there was a period of, I think it was a bit of the second round, but mostly the third round, where it was just like, it was like watching the same clip of a fight on repeat almost, with him trying to get back to his feet, and as soon as he did, you slamming him back down. Like, what was going through your head at that moment?
Like it looks like that's like a high energy expenditure move. For me, it's not really. I've practiced that so many times. Like, ask anybody who's wrestled with me. If I get that on you, that's pretty much where we're going to stay for the entirety of the round. I'm going to pick you up, put you down. You're going to get back to your knees, get back to your feet. I'm going to put you down again. It's more than anything, it's demoralizing to your spirit that you finally get back to your feet and you go in for a ride again
Yeah.
and again and again. But, you know, like, hats off to Aaron. He kept on fighting back to his feet. A lot of people would have just said, fuck this, I'm just going to stand on my back and fucking try and sub you. He kept on trying to get back to his feet and trying to fight all the way to the end. But that position for me, I'm very dominant with the majority of the people I wrestle with like that.
It was just surprising to watch because I can't recall a fight that I've seen where that was a major aspect of the fight. And like you said, like whenever you see a slam in a fight, people go straight to, well, it looks impressive, but how much does it take out of you? So that's really interesting that because you do it a lot, it doesn't affect you in the fight. How does that come around? Was it just like a natural thing for you when you're wrestling to go to that?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like I fell into that kind of position through the years, and that felt good, and I felt strong there. I guess body type and that will probably play a part in that. My brother's very similar. He has the same kind of attacks in that wrestling where he feels very strong. And you know, it negates the threat of, you know, submissions off of the guy's back as well, which I like that takedown so much, because if I hit a double on somebody, there's a good possibility I'm going to end up in the guy's guard. And if he's good off of his back, then, you know, it's a 50-50 sort of position. But as soon as I get that body lock, I'm going straight into side control every time. And they're not going to want to stay there. So they're going to roll to that turtle position again, give me 3 shots back to their feet, and then just rinse and repeat.
Obviously, the fight obviously has big big things in the future coming off of the fight, because it's not just like you win that and then it's like, okay, where are we going from here? Because you know what's next. It'd be Luke Shanks. Did you get a chance to watch his performance from the trilogy?
Yeah, I've seen Luke's fight now. I missed it at the time. I can't remember why. For whatever reason, I missed it at the time. He looked really good. He looked really good, and I know he was ill that day. Good, lovely jabs, low kicks, and that, and you know, he's got power in his hands. And you know, he got dropped in the first, but that probably woke him right up, and then he kind of seemed to really get into the groove from that point onwards.
Yeah, I just wonder what you think of Luke overall as an opponent, because when you look at your record, it is like a who's who of that division from the last few years. So Luke is one of the only names that I can think of that you haven't faced in this division.
Yeah, I mean, like we used to train together
right, okay,
a few years back, and that's almost one of the reasons. Like, my preference before this was, you know, I don't need to fight him. If I don't need to fight him, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
But you know, we're both in line for the title now, and we'll have a good fight in that. You know, I've watched him coming up over the years, and that we sparred together, and I watched him improve like loads over the time. He's probably thought I've got worse to be for when we've been sparring, but you know, he's good. He's got a great coach. He's got a great team around him. I'm expecting him to come and try and punch my head off.
One of the things that I hadn't really considered before, I was talking to a friend before the trilogy had started, and we were talking about how, specifically, we were talking about Joe McColgan and Jack Grant, and how it's quite unlikely that you see people challenge for the Cage Warriors belt multiple times in like one run with the promotion, because the Cage Warriors roster moves so fast that it's kind of like, once you get that opportunity, well, guess what? There's 3 guys behind you waiting to take that spot, sort of thing. So tell me about that, because you've been there and done it, and then had to go back through that process. And like I said, your resume speaks for itself. It's like there's not many guys that you haven't been in there with at this point. So what's that process like of then going back to the drawing board and, you know, sort of going through that cycle again?
That is probably difficult, more so for other fighters, to be quite honest. Like, I 100% believe in myself. I know I'm very good. You get moments of doubt in there, but I know I'm very good, and I know I'm capable of beating anybody in the world on my day. if in those fights that I'd lost for the title, if I had been absolutely dominated, you know, then I'd probably have something more to be thinking about in these situations. But I feel truly I was probably winning 90% of both of those fights. Took my eye off the ball, got pinged a couple of times, and you know, that's the way it goes. But it never left any doubt in my mind as to, you know, I'm going to stop fighting or anything like that, or I need to look elsewhere. You know, I'm made for this sport.
Yeah,
I've beaten guys that are very fucking good, and you know, I'm just going to keep on plugging away until I get my chance.
Yeah, the interesting thing as well with what's said about how many guys you fought at this point in this division is, I spoke to Jake Hadley a few weeks ago, and he talked about how there wasn't really a lot left for him. It just in terms of the size of the division in Europe, he felt like he needed to go elsewhere. And when you look at your record, it's kind of like the only thing that's missing off of that is winning the belt. It's kind of like. That's why when I was speaking to my friend about people who challenge multiple times for the Cage Warriors belt, it becomes a big talking point. But with you, I've never really felt like it is, because like you said, you were winning those fights. And so it wasn't like, okay, well, will he ever get another shot sort of thing? It was kind of like, well, when is it going to happen? Not if. Is that how you felt as well? Like, I would imagine that was your mindset as well. It's just, when is it going to happen? Not if.
Yeah, almost like people write me off after I've taken a loss like that, and then I'll come back, I'll win a couple of fights, I'll look good, and suddenly I'm back in the picture. You know, like it's quite entertaining to see how quickly you get, you know, sort of forgotten about and expected. Oh, like this new guy is going to smash him, and then you come in and you dominate the guy, and everybody's talking about how good you are again. You know, it's very fickle. And like, as long as you have belief in yourself and you're not kidding yourself, you're not deluded in any way. I know what I'm capable of. I do it on a daily basis in the gym. I just must go in there and perform on the day. And if I do so, you know, I can beat anybody.
Sam, I cannot wait to see this title fight with Luke Shanks. I think it is a great fight, and also you are so deserving of it. So all the best with the camp. Hopefully we can do this again soon with maybe a little bit of gold wrapped around your waist as well. So all the best, mate, and thanks for your time.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you for watching this episode of VMTV Vaults with myself and Mr. Sam Creasey. As I mentioned at the start, Sam's most recent win over Aaron Aby was brilliant. You can go watch back the whole trilogy event on UFC Fight Pass. Also subscribe to VMTV so you don't miss an episode of Vaults or The Violent Mike, with episodes out every Friday at 8. Until then, goodbye.